Good evening, everyone, and welcome. This is Twist Gaming, where you get to play board games with us. We're coming to you live here from our studio in sunny South Florida, bringing you our first impression session of our Spotlight stream. But first up, who are we? I'm Matt.
I'm Ann.
I'm Josh.
And we are Twist Gaming. Thank you so much for joining us. First and foremost, this is the first impression session of Spotlight, which means what? This is going to be where we talk about our favorite aspects, any constructive criticisms we had, and then the most important question of would we play the game again for the Spotlight we have just completed, and that tonight is Ticket to Ride New York by Days of Wonder. So if you haven't had the chance to see the game on Spotlight, definitely go back and check that out on video on demand. We had a great time playing it, and we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about what the game is right now. So first and foremost, what kind of game is Ticket to Ride New York? Josh, take it away.
So Ticket to Ride New York is like many of the other Ticket to Ride games where it's a track laying game of you're connecting different points to complete destination routes. And you get points based on how long each track is that you're laying down, and you get points for completing your destination cards.
Okay.
Ticket to Ride New York adds a little bit of flavor of if your connections touch some tourist spots, you get an extra point for it. But plays much like Ticket to Ride, but it's a smaller, condensed version that plays in about 10, 15, 20 minutes. And our actual second game was under 20 minutes.
Yeah, so it actually is very true to form. If you look, this is the board here. Obviously, you see it's significantly smaller than your standard Ticket to Ride boards. You have significantly less vehicles. In this case, they're taxis. But in traditional Ticket to Ride, you have 45. In this, you have 15. So you have 1/3 the amount of pieces. So obviously, it's going to play significantly faster. Anything else that you want to talk about before we get into the first impressions?
One thing we didn't mention during our gameplay video, but Ticket to Ride New York is Target exclusive that came out yesterday.
Good.
So it's in stores now at Target exclusive for the U.S. International, you probably pick it up at whatever your local game store is. But for the U.S., it is a Target exclusive.
Very cool. So, first part of the game, or the first impression session, we talk about our favorite aspects of the game. And we typically start with the person that won. Today we got through 2 games. Winner number 1 was Ann. So I'm going to let Ann take it away for us.
Thank you, Matthew. Winner, chicken dinner.
We're not in Vegas. It's not Ticket to Ride Vegas.
We did have Chick-fil-A for dinner, though. So
that's true.
Please take it away, Ann.
One of the things that I absolutely love about this version of the game, I feel like when you just start gaming, Ticket to Ride is one of those foundational games that you play as you're getting into hobby gaming. And this is just such a really accessible version of this game. It's got all of the same great elements that you enjoy in normal Ticket to Ride, but in a very compact version. I guess really just the accessibility is really what makes me happy. It's a smaller game box. It's a quicker game. This is something that when Ticket to Ride was a pretty easy game to transition somebody into the hobby board game industry, this just makes that much more accessible. It's a really fun, light filler game. I'm happy with it. There we go. Also, I am super, super in love
with the scorecards here, the scoring papers.
Let's get some of my...
Oh, your beautiful, beautiful. So this was the round 1 where things were serious when you put Jersh. We got the points snared into your skull there, and then obviously Bob, Bartholomew, and Batman for round number 2. And you see how the scores kind of increased pretty significantly going from round 1 to round 2.
Yeah.
And I think that's attributed with basically just familiarizing ourselves with the game a little bit more. Yeah. Obviously differences from the original Ticket to Ride to this one. So favorite aspects for me. I really enjoyed the introduction of the tourist spot locations. So that was actually what I focused on in the second playthrough. Was I wanted to go for one route because round 1 I went for 2 routes, and that is actually pretty exceedingly hard in this game, especially if you have a long route incorporated in there. I think, Ann, you got very good routes for yourself there.
Yeah, the first round I had 2 8-point rounds that I was trying to finish, but I wasn't able to. Oh, that's an interesting point too. I was not able to finish one of my 2 8-point routes, so they negated each other, and I was able to win that first round by other means.
Right.
So it's not dependent on completing your destinations.
Absolutely. So second round, I went primarily for the tourist location. So once I completed my main location, I went with I want to finish the game quickly, so that way Ann and Josh wouldn't be allowed to basically get more destination cards, which that actually didn't even work for you because you got 3 that you completed in round number 2. And then also to whatever individual 1 and 2 trains that I was placing down, connect them to as many of the 1 coin tourist locations as possible. So just showing off the board again, you see these 1-point locations. Whenever you have a transportation route that is adjacent to one of those, so for example, here for the purple cars, here, you get an additional point added to your score. So I took full advantage of that, and I got 7 on that. Well, I think you and Josh both got 3 for that round.
4.
3 or 4, okay.
I did make a slight rule error. But you still win. Your Chinatown to Wall Street is actually not a valid 2 points for that. It has to be connected to your routes that you have, your ticket routes.
Really?
Yes. I was just rereading the rules, and I made a slight rule clarification. So yeah, it has to be claimed to one of the routes that you did claim.
Right. So, it has to be a route that you claimed. Yeah, that's interesting. Route that you claimed. But that is a 1 point or 2 point swing for me there. However, I did place this one at the end with a wild card, so I would have just connected that there, and then it would have.
You would have still had it. I just want to double check the rules on that just to make sure.
There. Now it's not cheating.
Yeah.
Same end result. But no, I definitely liked that addition to the game. I thought that was really nice. Also, I wanted to point to the fact that the 3 rounds that we had, the scores were all very close to each other.
Yeah.
2 rounds.
Sorry, yes, the 2 rounds that we had, 3 players. All of our players' scores were pretty close to each other, so I think that speaks to how balanced the game is, considering that I haven't played Ticket to Ride in a long time, and this is a new version for us all. So
yeah,
we've got very different play styles also. Mm-hmm. So Josh, how about you? What are some of your favorite aspects of Ticket to Ride New York?
I like the condensed map. I like the shorter gameplay time, and I still have the same Ticket to Ride feeling. Yeah, just like you play in the bigger game. It's very quick. It plays slightly different. There's some different strategies that you do here that you can't do with Ticket to Ride.
Right.
For example, you can't just cut across the whole map and make sure nobody else can get any of the routes.
I mean, that's kind of what Matt did in that second game. He kind of went out quick just to prevent people.
Well, one of the issues that I had was the fact that in Ticket to Ride, the OG, if you will, you seem to be encouraged to go for multiple destinations, like I typically go for like 1 or 2 or 3 long destinations. So I figured that would be okay in the first round doing something equivalent. And the issue that I wound up having was I realized halfway through I don't have enough trains to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so, or I'm sorry, not trains, taxis. Yeah. So I really had to tailor my game style and pivot halfway through, and I realized that I was gonna.
Yeah, that's one of the things, like, since it's limited, you can't do super crazy things.
Yeah.
The second game, I actually picked up 2 that both started same starting location. They just had slightly different end locations. And if you go back to the board, if Ann did not go here, I would have been able to complete it perfectly fine. I would have got 16 points.
And you would have won the game.
And I would have won the game with, what was my score?
23.
23, so another 8 points. So I would have 31 points.
Yep. So you would have
won by 1 point.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
Thank you, Ann.
You're welcome.
So one other thing I'd like to note is that we do have a member here that has color blindness.
Yes.
So this game does a very good job, at least from my perspective.
All the Ticket to Ride games do a very good job with using symbols and things like that. They have different art for all the colors on the cards themselves, and then the symbols are actually on the cards that match the map.
So one final thing I wanted to point out, too, before we jumped into the constructive criticisms, is the theme is super cute. Aside from it's New York, and you're going from these big areas, and I like the inclusion of the tourist destination extra points there, but we were joking around when we were showing off some of these cards. If you could pass me a few other ones, please. So you've got your traditional. Well, that's green screen, but so you got a bus. So instead of train, you still got your traditional train. So there's trains, there's buses, there's school buses. So different kinds of transportation.
School buses.
You've got the train car there. You've got the rail car. Another bus, this sweet double-decker bus, like the tourist bus. And then my favorite was, I'm just like, where's the taxi? How do you not have taxis? And, of course, the taxi's the wild card. So I just thought that was just a nice little touch. Going from Ticket to Ride, which is just straight trains everywhere, to let's show off a couple different forms of transportation. So, into the constructive criticisms part of the stream is where we talk about anything we would change about the game given the opportunity. And let's start on the far end of the table there with Josh. So, Josh, anything that you would kind of tweak if you had the chance?
Trying to remember the original Ticket to Ride rules, if it's different. I thought you drew 3 destination cards at the beginning.
Think so. So it might be 2 just because it's
two,
a shorter game.
But you could only... In the other one, you had to at least keep 2, I believe. You have to keep 2 and not 3. So I think that's the only difference. I wouldn't mind having 3, and you could discard down to 1, but that might be a little too much.
Yeah.
But no, it plays like all the other Ticket to Rides in a more smaller condensed version. And if you want a smaller, shorter game Ticket to Ride, I think this is a good game. No, I really don't have anything to say.
So I'm going to just say a little bit here. I don't know how I feel. This isn't a criticism. I just don't know how I feel about the transition from going to the not real-time scoring, but the scoring that's updated every round, so you kind of have an idea of where everyone is on the board versus the scoring solely at the end. I'm not sure how I stand on that, just a point I wanted to bring up. I think I still would have liked to have seen a bonus for longest route or something of the equivalent, but I get why they took it away, just to slim the game down a little bit, and they did include the tourist destination thing. But I was looking for maybe just another end game thing that would help you pull ahead if you didn't have all the, boxes checked for destinations.
Those are all very good points, gentlemen.
I'm thinking you're struggling to try to find
You're
something.
absolutely correct. I think that this game checks all the boxes for me in what it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's super accessible. It's small. It's light. It's fun. I think the rules still made it fun. I liked being able to win in multiple ways. I didn't feel like our scores were significantly off, and I wouldn't consider us to be, novice gamers. So this made me happy. I thought that the color scheme was really cute. It would be nice to maybe have more choices in taxis. I think the only other color is yellow, but it's all supposed to be small, little, and compact, and I'm really happy with it.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting decision to go with non-standard colors for the players. Typically in a lot of games you get red, blue, black, white, yellow, something. And this is teal, purple, white, and yellow.
I'm not going to complain about that purple. It's a pretty fantastic
purple. The purple is good. I like it. But I just thought, just to point out, it's an interesting decision. I don't think it's a bad thing. But
the game box says that it plays 8 and up, and it is a super simple game. It's probably 8 and up because of how small the components are. So maybe if I don't know, larger components for bigger hands, I would play this. I would play this with the kids.
0 to 3, no crying onions.
Yes.
Josh is looking for the sentence. Yep, there we go. Just so people don't think I'm completely crazy. You've got the. Whoops, there we go. 0 to 3, no sad onions.
No sad onions.
All right, so is there anything else that either of you would like to point out before we jump into the most important question of the evening here?
I think that's it.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that Adita had a really good point. I would love a soundtrack for this game. I want lots of honking horns. I would like ambulance noises. I would like people yelling at each other, especially cabbies.
Just a guy
Get
in the
out of my way.
background.
Yeah.
A guy in the background yelling, "I'm playing games over here."
I was like Henry Winkler to do the soundtrack, please.
Hey. All right, so most important question of the evening, would you play this game again? I'm going to throw it down to the far end of the table. Josh.
Yeah, no, this is definitely something I play, this nice little filler game.
Is it yes or is it no?
Yes, this is definitely something I would like to play. Jesus.
You said yeah, no.
Anne, how about you?
Absolutely, I would play this game again. One of the things that was really cool is I got introduced to the mobile app version of Ticket to Ride on the way home from Origins, and I think that this also would be fun to play in a mobile app version.
Absolutely, and this is definitely a big yes for me. The criticism, I basically had no criticisms for the game. I think that it played really, really nicely. I I really enjoy the short play time because that's one of the few gating factors that I have of Ticket to Ride is just setup and play time is sometimes on the cusp of being a little bit too long. So this being super accessible and you can get several games in an hour, yeah, definitely. So I think 2 big thumbs up for me. So I think that checks all the boxes for all the Twist crew here, right?
Yep.
Fantastic. So any other points, Anne or Josh, you would like to make here before we signed off for the evening?
I don't believe so. Make sure that you check out your local Target. As Josh pointed out, this is a Target exclusive. If you are outside of the United States, make sure that you are going to your friendly local game store and asking them to bring it in.
So I would also like to note that if you wanted to get Ticket to Ride New York at a fancier store, you can go to Target.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And when you want to class it up a little bit.
If you really fancy, go to Target in New York City.
Oh, there you go.
New York Ticket to Ride.
There you go. All right. Thank you all for joining us this evening. This is going to be Twist Gaming signing off. Big shout out again to Days of Wonder for the sponsorship of this stream and all of this week's streams with Ticket to Ride New York. But for now, I'm Matt.
I'm Ann.
I'm Josh.
And we are Twist Gaming. Good night, everyone.
Good night.